Look at your hand and realize that every atom inside it is held together by invisible, immutable laws that have existed since the dawn of time. We build our entire civilization on the belief that physics is constant, that gravity is predictable, and that the universe is a safe, orderly machine. But what if I told you that there is a specific location in the night sky where that safety completely evaporates into chaos? Astronomers have discovered a sector of deep space that behaves like a cosmic crime scene, violating the rules that govern the rest of the universe. This is not science fiction. It is a cold, hard anomaly in the data that suggests something massive is malfunctioning in the fabric of reality. For decades, we ignored the warning signs, assuming the strange numbers in our equations were just errors or glitches in our telescopes. We looked at the movement of galaxies and told ourselves they were drifting randomly, like dust motes floating in a sunbeam. But when we finally mapped the velocity of the local universe, the random drift disappeared, and a terrifying pattern emerged from the chaos. Every single galaxy in our cosmic neighborhood, including our own Milky Way, is rushing towards a single, unseen point at impossible speeds. Something is out there, hiding behind a curtain of dust, and it is pulling us in with a force that defies the known laws of gravity. Scientists call this region the zone of avoidance, not because we want to avoid it, but because our own galaxy blocks our view of the horror. It sits there in the darkness, obscured by the dense gas and dust of the Milky Way's galactic plane, waiting for us to get closer. Imagine driving a car at maximum speed down a highway, only to realize the steering wheel no longer controls where you are going. That is the exact situation humanity finds itself in right now. We are passengers on a planet that has been hijacked by a gravitational monster. The numbers indicate that this object, or this region, possesses the mass of a quadrillion suns, yet it remains completely invisible to our eyes. Physicists refer to this anomaly as the Great Attractor, a name that sounds majestic but implies a predatory nature we do not yet understand. If gravity were the only force at play, the universe's expansion should be pushing us away from everything, isolating us in the dark. Instead, we are fighting against the cosmic current, being dragged upstream towards a destruction we cannot see and cannot prevent. The scary part is not the movement itself, but the fact that the math describing this movement breaks the standard model of cosmology. There is simply not enough visible matter in that direction to generate the gravitational pull we are currently experiencing. It is as if a ghost is holding the leash of our galaxy, dragging us through the void at 600 kilometers per second. When researchers tried to peer through the dust using X-ray astronomy, they expected to find a massive supercluster of galaxies. They found something, yes, but it was nowhere near massive enough to account for the sheer violence of the attraction we feel. This implies that the Great Attractor is merely a puppet, and the real puppeteer is something much larger and much further away. We are looking at a cosmic anomaly where the laws of mass and gravity seem to disconnect, leaving us with an equation that equals zero. Every second that passes, Earth moves hundreds of kilometers closer to this mysterious point, and we have absolutely no way to hit the brakes. The implications are terrifying because if physics is broken in that region, then our understanding of the entire universe might be a lie. Are we being pulled into a supermassive black hole that has consumed millions of galaxies before us? Or is this the edge of the universe itself, leaking into another dimension, creating a vacuum that sucks everything in? The data suggests that this flow of galaxies extends far beyond what we can see, reaching out to the very limits of the observable cosmos. Scientists call this phenomenon dark flow, a movement that should not exist if the universe were truly uniform and random. It suggests that the structure of space-time is tilted, and everything is sliding down a slope towards an unknown abyss. Imagine the universe as a flat table. Somewhere, a leg has broken, and all the marbles are rolling toward the edge. We are one of those marbles, helpless against the curvature of a reality that is far more warped than Einstein ever predicted. The energy required to move galaxy clusters like this is infinite, yet here we are, observing the impossible happen in real time. Some theories propose that this is evidence of a multiverse, where a neighboring universe is exerting a gravitational tug on our own. We might be crashing into another bubble of reality, a collision that would rewrite the fundamental constants of physics instantly. If that boundary breaks, the laws that hold your atoms together could dissolve, unmaking you before your brain even registers the change. This is the cosmic horror of our existence. We are small, fragile, and hurtling towards a destination that refuses to reveal itself. The closer we look at the Great Attractor, the more it looks like a trap set by the architecture of the cosmos itself. Astronomers are racing to map the region using radio waves that can penetrate the dust, desperate to see the face of the monster. What they're finding is a concentration of mass so dense that it bends light around it, creating a lens that distorts the stars. We are staring into the barrel of a gravitational gun, and we have no idea when or if the trigger has already been pulled. The scary truth is that physics doesn't just break there. It might be operating under a completely different set of rules entirely. In this sector, the speed of light might vary, time might loop, and cause might not necessarily precede effect. We are like ants trying to understand a supercomputer, observing glitches that we interpret as anomalies in our simple world. But the glitch is getting closer, or rather we are getting closer to the glitch, and the interference is getting louder. If we reach the event horizon of this Great Attractor, will we simply cease to exist, or will we wake up somewhere else? The silence from that part of the sky is deafening, a void where the signals of the universe go to die. Before we can understand the destination, we must understand the vehicle, and right now, our vehicle is shaking apart. To truly grasp the magnitude of this cosmic horror, we must first understand the baseline reality that we have accepted for nearly a century, a reality that this new discovery completely shatters. According to the standard model of cosmology, specifically the Hubble law, the universe is expanding uniformly in all directions. Imagine a loaf of raisin bread rising in an oven. As the dough expands, every raisin moves away from every other raisin. In this analogy, the Milky Way is a raisin, and according to the laws of physics, we should be drifting away from our neighbors into a lonely, isolated future. This is the Hubble flow, the natural, peaceful river of space-time that carries galaxies apart from one another. It is a predictable, mathematical drift that suggests a universe of order, where gravity eventually loses the war against the expansion of dark energy. But when astronomers looked at the data for our specific region of space, they realized that the raisin bread analogy was failing. We aren't just drifting apart, we are being dragged. The peaceful expansion of the universe in our sector has been overpowered by a violent, localized current that contradicts the general expansion. The river of space-time isn't flowing smoothly here. It is swirling down a drain, and the frightening part is that the standard model, the very foundation of modern astrophysics, cannot account for the sheer ferocity of the current that has seized control of our galaxy. The evidence for this violation of cosmic law comes from the oldest light in existence, the cosmic microwave background radiation, or CMB. This is the afterglow of the Big Bang, a bath of radiation that permeates every centimeter of the universe. In a perfectly static universe, the CMB should look exactly the same in every direction, a uniform temperature of 2.7 Kelvin, but it doesn't. When we point our instruments in one specific direction, towards the constellation of Leo, the CMB looks slightly hotter, slightly bluer. In the opposite direction, towards Aquarius, it looks cooler and redder. This is the CMB dipole, a Doppler shift caused by our own motion. It is the cosmic equivalent of the sound of an ambulance siren rising in pitch as it speeds towards you and dropping as it speeds away. This temperature difference proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that we are moving through the universe at an absolute velocity that has nothing to do with the expansion of space. We are careening through the cosmos at 600 kilometers per second, a speed so incomprehensible that it turns the gentle drift of the galaxies into a frantic, desperate plummet. The universe isn't just expanding, we are falling, and the CMB is the wind rushing past our ears as we drop. Let's try to visualize the speed at which this invisible monster is reeling us in, because human intuition fails at these scales. 600 kilometers per second is 2.2 million kilometers per hour. At this speed, you could travel from Earth to the Moon in under 10 minutes. You could cross the diameter of the Sun in less than half an hour. This is not the speed of a casual Sunday drive. This is a velocity that implies a gravitational engine of apocalyptic power. In the time it took you to hear this sentence, we have moved nearly 3,000 kilometers closer to the source of the pull. If you consider the mass of the Milky Way galaxy, hundreds of billions of stars, black holes, nebulae, and dark matter. The amount of energy required to accelerate this entire structure to such a velocity is beyond calculation. It is akin to finding a mountain moving at the speed of a bullet. Physics tells us that force equals mass times acceleration. We know the mass of our galaxy is immense. We know the acceleration is real. Therefore, the force pulling us must be generated by an object so massive that it defies our catalog of known cosmic structures. It suggests a concentration of matter that shouldn't be possible this early in the universe's lifespan, a monstrosity that has grown too fat too quickly. The investigation into this anomaly began in earnest in the 1970s and 80s, when a group of astronomers known as the Seven Samurai set out to map the motion of elliptical galaxies. They expected to find random deviations, minor speed bumps in the smooth expansion of the universe. Instead, they found a cohesive, synchronized flow. Every galaxy within hundreds of millions of light-years was participating in this great migration. It wasn't just us. It was our neighbors, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Virgo cluster, everything. We are all caught in the same gravitational riptide. This discovery turned cosmology into a crime scene investigation. If gravity is the culprit, there must be a body. There must be a mass huge enough to cause this effect. But when the Seven Samurai looked at the destination of this flow, they hit a wall, literally. The spot in the sky where all the galaxies are headed lies directly behind the plane of our own Milky Way. We are in the passenger seat of a car speeding toward a cliff, but the windshield is covered in mud. We know we are moving, we know where we are going, but we cannot see what is waiting for us at the end of the road. This blinded region is ominously named the Zone of Avoidance. It covers about 20% of our night sky, a swath of darkness where the dense stars, gas clouds, and dust lanes of our own galaxy block the view of the deeper universe beyond. It is the ultimate cosmic irony. The one place in the entire universe that matters most to our immediate future is the one place we are physically incapable of seeing with optical telescopes. The dust of the Milky Way acts like a thick curtain, absorbing visible light and hiding the secrets of the deep cosmos. For decades, this zone of avoidance was simply a blank spot on our maps, a here be dragons territory that astronomers ignored because it was too difficult to study. But now, with the realization that the great attractor lies deep within this forbidden zone, the zone of avoidance has transformed from a nuisance into a source of existential dread. It is hiding the monster. It creates a palpable tension in the scientific community, a feeling that we are being stalked by a predator that knows exactly how to stay in our blind spot. The universe is playing a game of peekaboo, but the stakes are the gravitational destiny of our entire galactic cluster. To penetrate this curtain of dust, scientists had to abandon their eyes and start using other senses. Visible light is easily blocked by interstellar dust. The particles are roughly the same size as the light waves, so they scatter the light, creating an opaque fog. However, longer wavelengths, like infrared and radio waves, can pass through the dust almost unimpeded. It is similar to how firefighters use thermal imaging cameras to see through smoke. By switching to X-ray and radio astronomy, researchers began to peel back the layers of the Milky Way, desperately searching for the mass that was pulling us. They were looking for a supercluster of galaxies, a hive of thousands of galaxies bound together by gravity, that could account for the terrifying velocity we were experiencing. The expectation was that once they peered through the zone of avoidance, they would find a, quote, monster in the closet, a distinct, massive object that would balance the equations and restore order to our understanding of physics. They wanted a culprit, they wanted a name, they wanted to point at a cluster of galaxies and say, there, that is what is moving us. But as the data started to trickle in, the mystery didn't dissolve, it deepened. The closet wasn't empty, but the monster inside looked suspiciously small. The first major suspect to emerge from the shadows of the zone of avoidance was the Norma cluster. Located roughly 150 million light-years away, directly in the path of our motion, the Norma cluster is a dense aggregation of galaxies. At first glance, it seemed like the perfect candidate for the great attractor. It was in the right place, and it was certainly massive. The scientific community breathed a tentative sigh of relief. If the Norma cluster was the attractor, then physics was safe. Gravity was behaving as expected. We were simply falling towards a large concentration of matter. Case closed. But as better telescopes and more precise measurements became available, the investigative journalists of the cosmos began to run the numbers again, and the sense of relief evaporated. The mass of the Norma cluster was calculated to be roughly 10 to the power of 15 solar masses. That is a quadrillion suns. It sounds impressive, but when you plug that number into the equation for the velocity of the Milky Way, it fails. The Norma cluster is heavy, but it is not heavy enough to drag us at 600 kilometers per second. It contributes to the pull, certainly, but it is not the engine. It is merely a landmark on the road to something far worse. This is where the story shifts from a simple gravitational puzzle to a tale of dark flow and missing physics. If the Norma cluster isn't the great attractor, then what is? The search pushed further out, deeper into the abyss beyond the zone of avoidance. Behind the Norma cluster, roughly 650 million light-years away, lies an even larger structure known as the Shapley supercluster. This is a true titan of the cosmos, the most massive concentration of galaxies in our local universe. It contains more than 8,000 galaxies and possesses a gravitational pull that is truly staggering. For a brief moment, astronomers thought they had found the true puppeteer. The Shapley supercluster is aligned with the flow. It is pulling in the same direction. Surely, this must be the source of our speed. But once again, the ruthless mathematics of the cosmos intervened. Even when you combine the mass of the Norma cluster and the Shapley supercluster, the numbers still don't add up. They account for maybe 60% of our motion. There is still a missing component, a ghost pull of hundreds of kilometers per second that has no visible source. Roughly 40% of the force dragging us to our doom is coming from nothing, or at least nothing we can see. This discrepancy is what keeps cosmologists awake at night. We have accounted for every visible galaxy, every cloud of gas, every supercluster in the direction of our travel, and we are still coming up short. The universe is pulling us harder than the sum of its parts should allow. This forces us to confront uncomfortable possibilities. Is our understanding of gravity wrong on these massive scales? Does gravity behave differently when aggregated over hundreds of millions of light-years? Or is there something else hiding behind the Shapley supercluster? Something so distant and so massive that it defies the structural limits of the universe? We are talking about structures that would have to be billions of light-years across, sizes that contradict the cosmological principle which states the universe should be homogeneous at large scales. If such a structure exists, it breaks the rule that says the universe is the same everywhere. It implies that we live in a lumpy, broken corner of reality where matter has clumped together in impossible quantities, creating a drain that swallows everything around it. We are not just moving, we are being hunted by a mathematical impossibility. To make matters worse, recent studies have unveiled a new player in this gravitational drama, a concept that adds a layer of repulsion to the attraction. It is called the dipole repeller. Imagine that you are not just being pulled by a magnet in front of you, but you are also being pushed by a void behind you. Astronomers mapping the flow of galaxies discovered a region of space in the opposite direction of the great attractor that is chillingly empty. It is a cosmic void, a desert where galaxies are few and far between. In the strange physics of the large-scale universe, an underdense region acts like a repulsive force. Because there is less gravity there to hold things back, the denser regions pull harder, creating the illusion of a push. We are effectively being squeezed between a vacuum and a black hole. The dipole repeller is pushing us away, and the great attractor is reeling us in. We are caught in a cosmic riptide, sandwiched between a zone of nothingness and a zone of too muchness. It creates a picture of the local universe that is dynamic, violent, and utterly indifferent to the stability of the small blue marble we call home. The floor is tilting, and we are sliding fast. The discovery of the dipole repeller fundamentally changed the way we visualize our place in the cosmos. We used to think of galaxies as static islands floating in an expanding sea. Now we see them as leaves caught in a rushing wind tunnel. The wind travels from the void of the repeller towards the density of the attractor. This flow of matter creates a filamentary structure, a web of highways along which galaxies travel. We are currently merging with other groups of galaxies, falling along these invisible filaments towards the center of the gravitational well. This realization led to the redefinition of our galactic home. We are not just in the Milky Way, or the local group, or the Virgo supercluster. In 2014, scientists defined a new, massive supercluster that encompasses all of these structures. They named it Laniakea, a Hawaiian word meaning immeasurable heaven. It sounds poetic, almost beautiful. But Laniakea is not a kingdom, it is a watershed. Just as all rain that falls in a valley eventually flows into the same river, all galaxies within Laniakea are flowing towards the same drain. We are just droplets of water in a basin of attraction that spans 500 million light-years, and the drain is the great attractor. But even Laniakea, with its 100,000 galaxies and its quadrillion stars, is moving. The entire supercluster, the whole immeasurable heaven, is itself being dragged towards the Shapley supercluster and beyond. It is a nesting doll of gravitational traps. You open one, and there is a bigger, scarier one inside. And here is where the science begins to bleed into existential horror. The expansion of the universe is accelerating. Dark energy is pushing things apart, faster and faster. Normally, this would mean that distant structures should be moving away from us. But the great attractor's pull is so strong that it is fighting a tug-of-war with dark energy, and, locally, it is winning. However, on the largest scales, dark energy will eventually win. This creates a horizon of events for our future. We are racing towards this attractor, but the space between us is stretching. We are running on a treadmill that is speeding up. There will come a point where the expansion of the universe rips the great attractor away from us forever, leaving us stranded in the void, never knowing what it was. We are chasing a ghost that will vanish before we can ever touch it. This race against time adds a layer of urgency to the scientific mission. We are trying to solve a puzzle that is actively being disassembled by the expansion of the universe. The data we collect today is the only data we will ever have. In a few billion years, the light from these distant attractors will be redshifted into oblivion, and the evidence of their existence will be erased. Future civilizations born on Earth, if Earth still exists, will look at the sky and see nothing but darkness. They will have no way of knowing about the Great Attractor, or the Big Bang, or the other galaxies. They will think the Milky Way is the entire universe, static and eternal. We are living in a privileged moment in cosmic history, the only time when the crime scene is fresh enough to be analyzed. We can see the blood spatter of the Big Bang. We can track the footprints of the galaxies. We are the detectives arriving just before the rain washes all the clues away. And what we are finding is that the universe is far more connected and far more precarious than we ever dared to imagine. Let's deepen the mystery. What if the Great Attractor isn't just a pile of rocks? What if the reason the mass calculations don't work is because the physics we are using to weigh the universe are fundamentally flawed? This brings us to the concept of dark flow. In 2008, a team of researchers found evidence that galaxy clusters all over the universe, not just near us, are streaming in the same direction, towards a patch of sky between Centaurus and Vela. This flow extends far beyond the visible universe. It suggests that the structure responsible for this pull lies outside our cosmic horizon. The cosmic horizon is the limit of how far we can see, determined by the speed of light and the age of the universe. If something is outside that horizon, its light hasn't had time to reach us yet. But gravity might have a longer reach. If there is a massive structure just outside the observable universe, we would feel its tug but never see its face. We would be like a ship in the fog, feeling the swell of a massive wave generated by a distant storm we cannot see on the radar. The implications of dark flow are staggering because they challenge the cosmological principle, which asserts that the universe looks roughly the same everywhere. If there is a massive drain outside our visible universe pulling everything towards it, then the universe is not uniform, it is tilted, it has a downhill, and we are sliding down it. This leads to wild yet mathematically viable theories. Could this tilt be caused by the gravitational pull of a neighboring universe? String theory and eternal inflation models suggest that our universe is just one bubble in a vast boiling foam of a multiverse. If another bubble collided with ours or simply rubbed up against it, the gravitational interaction would look exactly like dark flow. We might be feeling the gravity of a twin universe, a ghost reality, pressing against the membrane of our own space-time. The Great Attractor might not be an object in our universe. It might be the contact point with another universe. The anomaly in the data isn't a mistake. It's a bruise on the skin of our reality caused by a collision with something else. Let's ground this back in the terror of the physical. Even if we ignore the multiverse theories, the physical reality of the Great Attractor region is a nightmare of radiation and collision. As galaxies are pulled into this dense knot of space, they don't just park politely. They crash. Galaxy collisions are usually slow dances that take billions of years, but in the dense environment of a supercluster core, they happen with frightening frequency. The gas clouds within these galaxies slam together, igniting furiously hot shock waves that emit blinding X-rays. If you were an observer located inside the Great Attractor, the sky would be a blinding tapestry of merging galaxies. The night would be bright with the glow of 1 trillion newborn stars and the accretion disks of 1,000 feeding black holes. It is a graveyard of galaxies, a place where the elegant spiral structures of worlds like the Milky Way are shredded and homogenized into formless elliptical blobs. We are heading towards a cosmic blender. The investigative journalist in us has to ask, why does the universe have a drain? Why is matter concentrating in this way? In the early universe, matter was spread out almost perfectly evenly. We know this from the CMB. So how did we get from a smooth sea of energy to a lumpy, dangerous ocean of attractors and voids? The answer lies in the quantum fluctuations of the Big Bang. Tiny, microscopic jitters in the fabric of reality, smaller than an atom, were stretched by cosmic inflation until they became the seeds of galaxies. The Great Attractor is the result of a lucky or unlucky roll of the quantum dice. A slightly denser patch of the infant universe gathered more mass, which increased its gravity, which pulled in more mass, creating a runaway snowball effect. We are the victims of a butterfly effect that started 13.8 billion years ago. The monster was born in the first fraction of a second of time, and it has been growing, feeding, and waiting for us ever since. It is not an accident. It is a structural inevitability of our specific timeline. But there is a counter-theory, a whisper in the data that scares scientists even more than the Great Attractor. What if our measurements of distance are wrong? The entire edifice of the expanding universe is built on our ability to measure how far away things are. We use standard candles, supernova that explode with a specific brightness to measure these distances. But if there is something strange about the dust in the zone of avoidance, something that dims these candles in a way we don't understand, our map of the universe collapses. We might be closer to the attractor than we think, or it might be much larger than we calculate. The crisis in cosmology, the Hubble tension, is a real debate happening right now. Different methods of measuring the universe's expansion rate are giving different answers. The discrepancy is significant. It suggests we are missing a fundamental piece of the puzzle. If our yardstick is broken, then our estimate of the danger is meaningless. We are flying a plane with broken altimeters through a mountain range at night. The existence of the Great Attractor also challenges the Copernican principle, the idea that we are not special, that our location in the universe is random and average. If we are living in a region dominated by a unique, massive flow that contradicts the global expansion, then our location is special. It's especially bad. We live in a turbulent, high-velocity suburb of the cosmos. Most galaxies drift quietly. We careen. This uniqueness makes it harder to deduce universal laws because our local laboratory is contaminated by this massive gravitational anomaly. We are trying to learn the rules of calm water while treading water in a hurricane. It compels us to ask, is physics different elsewhere? In the quiet voids where the dipole repeller reigns, does time flow differently? Does gravity feel the same? We are trapped in our own frame of reference, assuming our chaotic experience is the norm, when in fact, we might be the outliers, the victims of a rare cosmic accident. Let's zoom out to the ultimate fate of this flow. Will we ever actually hit the Great Attractor? The math offers a glimmer of hope mixed with a different kind of despair. Because the universe is expanding, the space between us and the attractor is growing. Even at 600 kilometers per second, we are not moving fast enough to catch up to the expansion. The attractor is receding from us faster than we are falling towards it. It is a race we are destined to lose. We will never crash into the Great Attractor. Instead, we will be pulled towards it for eternity, forever chasing a destination that runs away from us. We will spend the rest of time stretching our arms towards a monster we can never touch. This creates a sensation of cosmic Tantalus. We are yearning towards this gravitational center, our entire galaxy distorted by its pull, yet we are condemned to isolation. We are being pulled apart by the desire to merge and the force of the void. We are not crashing, we are being drawn and quartered by the universe itself. However, just because we won't hit the center doesn't mean we are safe from the effects. The Great Attractor is not a point, it is a region. As we move deeper into its gravitational basin, the density of our environment increases. We are entering a cosmic metropolitan area. The traffic is getting heavier. The likelihood of galactic interactions increases. We may not hit the core, but we will traverse the suburbs, where rogue galaxies and high-velocity gas clouds roam. The warmth of the Great Attractor is already felt in the temperature of the intergalactic medium around us. It is hotter here than in the voids. The environment is more hostile. We are moving from the safe, rural quiet of the local void into the dangerous, energetic bustle of a supercluster node. And in cosmic terms, bustle means radiation, instability, and chaos. We are leaving the cradle and entering the battlefield. There is also the vacuum decay hypothesis to consider, which fits uncomfortably well with these high-energy anomalies. If the universe is in a false vacuum, a state that is stable but not the most stable, a sufficiently violent event could kick it into a lower energy state. This would create a bubble of true vacuum that expands at the speed of light, rewriting the laws of physics and deleting everything in its path. Regions of extreme mass and extreme gravity, like the Great Attractor, are the pressure cookers of the universe. If the fabric of space-time is going to snap anywhere, it will be where the tension is highest. Are we being dragged towards the trigger point? Is the Great Attractor a weak spot in the glass of reality? A stress fracture waiting to shatter? If a vacuum decay bubble started there, we would never see it coming. It would hit us at light speed. One moment, stars. The next, total fundamental erasure. The investigative journalist looks at the dipole repeller again. A void shouldn't push. Gravity is attractive only. So how does a void push? It's an illusion of relativity, but a potent one. The void isn't pushing, it's just not pulling. Everything else is pulling. So relative to the void, we are fleeing. It's like standing on a slope. The top of the hill isn't pushing you down, but the gravity at the bottom is pulling you, and the lack of support at the top ensures you fall. This push-pull mechanism doubles the efficiency of our acceleration. It means the universe is conspiring to move us. It's a coordinated effort of geometry. The terrifying thought is this a natural formation, or does it look engineered? Obviously, we assume natural causes, but the alignment of the dipole repeller and the Great Attractor along a perfect axis is a coincidence that makes statisticians uncomfortable. It looks like a highway built for galaxies. Let's talk about the cluster of the future. As we slide towards this basin, we are joining a structure that will eventually collapse into a single, monstrous elliptical galaxy. In the far, far future, trillions of years from now, all the galaxies in our local stream, currently bound by the Great Attractor's gravity, will merge. The Milky Way, Andromeda, the Triangulum, and thousands of others will mash together into one blindingly bright, chaotic ball of stars. We are witnessing the prenatal stages of a supergalaxy. We are the ingredients being poured into the bowl. The horror here is the loss of identity. The beautiful spiral structure of the Milky Way, the delicate arms where life evolved, is temporary. It is doomed to be scrambled. We are heading towards a future where our galaxy ceases to be a meaningful concept. We are merely fuel for the bonfire that the Great Attractor is building. But what if the Standard Model breakdown is even more severe? There is a theory called modified Newtonian dynamics, MOND. It suggests that dark matter doesn't exist, and instead, our understanding of gravity is wrong at low accelerations. If MOND is true, the Great Attractor might not be a pile of mass at all. It might be a region where the gravitational constant $G$ is different. Imagine a patch of space where gravity is simply turned up to 11. If we pass through such a region, the gravity holding the Earth in orbit around the Sun could change instantly. The delicate balance that keeps our planet in the habitable zone would shatter. We would either spiral into the Sun or be flung into the cold dark. The Great Attractor might not be a destination. It might be a chaotic field of changing laws. We are sailing towards a storm where the compass doesn't just spin, the concept of north stops existing. The mystery of the Vela supercluster adds another layer to the puzzle. Hidden partially behind the galactic plane, near the attractor, the Vela supercluster is another massive concentration of galaxies discovered only recently. It's huge, spanning 370 million light-years. It contributes to our motion, but it was missed for decades because of the dust. This reinforces the scarier-than-fiction reality: we are blind. We are making confident assertions about the universe while being unable to see the massive giants standing right next to us. How many other Vela superclusters are there? How many other attractors? The map of the universe we teach in schools is likely missing the most important continents. We are drawing dragons on the edges of the map, not because of fantasy, but because our ignorance is that profound. The universe is full of ghosts that only reveal themselves by the gravity they exert. There is a visceral terror in the concept of unseen influence. We like to believe that if something is affecting us, we can perceive it. But the Great Attractor violates this. It is the invisible hand. It affects the orbit of every planet, the trajectory of every star, and the future of every civilization in our sector. Yet it remains hidden. It is the perfect Lovecraftian entity, vast, powerful, indifferent, and fundamentally unknowable. It sits in the dark, reeling us in. And no matter how better our technology gets, the zone of avoidance ensures it will always remain partially obscured. We will never get a clear photo of the thing that controls our fate. It is destined to remain a shadow, a silhouette against the cosmic background, a monster defined only by the destruction it causes to the smooth flow of space-time. Let's reconsider the dark flow speed. 600 kilometers per second is the speed relative to the CMB. But some measurements suggest components of the flow are even faster, reaching 1,000 kilometers per second in certain streams. The kinetic energy involved is mind-boggling. When galaxy clusters collide at these speeds, the gas between them heats up to 100 million degrees. It glows in X-rays so brightly it outshines the stars. We are heading towards a region of the universe that is effectively a cosmic oven. The Great Attractor is not just a gravitational sink, it is a thermodynamic hellscape. The breaking of physics here might be the transition from organized matter to high-energy plasma soup. We are moving from structure to entropy, from order to chaos. The arrow of time points towards disorder, and the Great Attractor is the ultimate express lane to that chaotic end. The investigative journalist asks, is there any way to escape? If we built a spaceship that could travel at near light speed, could we break free of the dark flow? The answer is grim. The flow carries the space itself. You cannot swim out of a current if the water itself is moving faster than you can swim. To escape the Great Attractor's influence, you would need to leave the local universe entirely. You would need to jump to a different supercluster filament. But the voids between filaments are expanding. To cross them is becoming impossible. We are effectively quarantined in Laniakea. We are locked in the room with the monster. The door, the cosmic horizon, is closing. We are bound to this fate by the geometry of the Big Bang. There is no escape pod for a galaxy. The final twist in the Standard Model investigation is the realization that the Great Attractor might be a temporary phenomenon. Gravity takes time to propagate. We are feeling the pull of where the attractor was hundreds of millions of years ago. Since then, the galaxies that make it up have moved, merged, or exploded. We are being pulled by a ghost of the past. The monster might have already died or moved on, but its gravitational scream is still echoing across the void, and we are still obeying it. We are chasing a mirage. This adds a layer of absurdity to the horror. We are hurtling towards a destruction that might no longer exist, driven by laws of physics that force us to obey the history of the universe rather than its present. We are puppets of the past. But what if the ghost is real? What if the breaking of physics is actually a glimpse into the future of the entire universe? The Big Crunch theory, the idea that the universe will eventually stop expanding and collapse back into a singularity, has largely been discarded in favor of the heat death, eternal expansion. But local regions like the Great Attractor mimic a Big Crunch. They are pockets of collapse in a universe of expansion. They are resisting the end. In a way, the Great Attractor is a rebel against the heat death. It is trying to hold the universe together, albeit violently. It creates a duality. The cold, lonely death of expansion versus the hot, violent death of attraction. We are caught in the middle. The physics isn't just breaking. It's fighting a civil war, and Earth is on the front lines. As we conclude this initial investigation of the anomaly, we are left with more questions than answers. The standard model explains the quiet expansion, but it fails to explain the violent flow. We have found the zone of avoidance, the Norma cluster, the Shapley supercluster, and the dipole repeller. We have built a map of the gravitational battlefield, but the general of the opposing army, the true source of the dark flow, remains elusive. Is it a defect in space-time? A multiverse collision? A superstructure beyond the horizon? The investigation is stalled by the speed of light and the dust of our own galaxy. We are detectives waiting for a break in the case that may never come. All we know for sure is that the speedometer is climbing, and the darkness ahead is getting thicker. Now we must pivot from the what to the how. How does gravity actually manage to pull across these vast distances? We are taught that gravity weakens with distance, the inverse square law. So for an object 200 million light-years away to pull us this hard, its mass must be astronomically high. But there is a theory that gravity might not leak into extra dimensions as much as we thought, or perhaps it leaks more. If our universe is a brain, a membrane floating in a higher dimensional bulk, gravity might be the only force that can cross between branes. The great attractor's pull could be reinforced by mass on a parallel brane, a shadow galaxy, hovering just millimeters away from us in the fourth dimension. We can't see it, but we can feel it. We might be orbiting a ghost. This brain world scenario turns the great attractor from a crime scene into a haunted house. It implies that the missing mass isn't missing, it's just next door. The breaking of physics is simply our failure to perceive the full dimensionality of reality. We are 2D characters on a sheet of paper, wondering why the paper is bending, unaware of the hand pressing down on it from the third dimension. The great attractor is the fingerprint of a higher dimensional entity. This isn't just astrophysics, it's metaphysics with a body count. It suggests our reality is permeable, influenced by forces that don't even obey our local laws of conservation. We are open to the elements of the multiverse, and the draft is chilly. Let's talk about the cold spot. While we have the great attractor, hot dense, we also have the CMB cold spot, another anomaly that baffles scientists. It's a massive region of the sky that is significantly colder than it should be. Some link it to the dipole repeller, but it's too big. It might be the imprint of a bubble universe colliding with ours. If the great attractor is the drain, the cold spot is the bruise. The universe is full of these scars. They are evidence that the Big Bang wasn't a clean, perfect event. It was messy. It left debris. It left structural weaknesses. We are navigating a construction site that was never finished, full of open pits and live wires. The great attractor is just the biggest open pit we've found so far. The psychological impact of this knowledge cannot be overstated. For most of human history, the stars were fixed, eternal, and divine. They were a clockwork mechanism put there for us. Now we know they are a chaotic slurry flowing down a drain. It removes the sense of permanence. The night sky is not a painting. It is a movie, and it is a disaster movie. Knowing about the great attractor changes the way you look at the Milky Way. You don't see a band of light anymore. You see a dusty blindfold hiding a monster. You see the zone of avoidance. It transforms the sublime beauty of the cosmos into a source of paranoid anxiety. We are not safe. We are just small. What happens to time near the great attractor? According to general relativity, time dilates near massive objects. Clocks run slower. If the concentration of mass is as high as the dark flow suggests, the core of the great attractor might be in a deep temporal well. To an outside observer, events there would seem frozen. To an observer inside, the universe outside would seem to be speeding up. If civilizations exist in the attractor, they might be watching the rest of the universe die in fast forward. They are living in the slow lane of entropy. Perhaps that is the purpose of the attractor, a cosmic stasis chamber, a bunker against the end of time. We are being pulled into the future, literally and metaphorically. But until we get there, we are stuck with the peculiar velocity. That is the technical term for our motion. peculiar. In science, peculiar means distinct from the expected, but in this context it feels like an understatement. It's not peculiar, it's terrifying. It means we are rogue, we are off script. The universe has a script, the Hubble flow, and we have tossed it in the trash. The Great Attractor is the director shouting at us to move to a different mark. We are obeying a local authority over the universal government. It highlights the tension between the local and the global, the specific and the general. In the grand scheme, the universe expands. In our neighborhood, it contracts. We are living in a contradiction. The tools we use to study this redshift surveys are heroic efforts. Measuring the distance to thousands of galaxies one by one is like counting grains of sand on a beach to find out which way the wind is blowing. It takes decades. The 6 decifarads galaxy survey and others have mapped over 100,000 galaxies to build this picture. It is a triumph of human persistence. We are desperate to know our location. We are like sailors in a storm, obsessively checking the sextant. The fact that we have figured this out, that we know about the Great Attractor at all, is a miracle. We are monkeys on a rock who figured out the rock is falling. That doesn't save us, but it gives us the dignity of understanding our doom. There is a theory that the Great Attractor is a supermassive black hole cluster. Not just one black hole, but a swarm of them. Imagine thousands of galactic cores merging, their black holes sinking to the center, forming a dense knot of singularities. The gravity would be chaotic, violent, shredding stars and flinging them out at relativistic speeds. It would be a gravitational mosh pit. If this is true, the radiation output should be detectable. The fact that it's quiet in radio waves, relatively, is suspicious. It suggests the mass is dark. Not black holes, which eat and burp X-rays, but dark matter. Cold, silent, invisible mass. The Great Attractor is likely the largest reservoir of dark matter in the local universe. A mountain of invisible ghost particles. Dark matter is the perfect culprit for a cosmic horror story. It passes through you right now. It is everywhere, yet it interacts with nothing but gravity. It is the silent majority of the universe. The Great Attractor is its capital city. If dark matter can clump together to form dark stars or dark galaxies, the zone of avoidance might be teeming with invisible worlds. Worlds where light doesn't exist, only gravity. We could be colliding with the shadow Milky Way right now, and we wouldn't know it until our orbit started to destabilize. The Great Attractor forces us to confront the fact that 85% of the matter in the universe is completely alien to us. We are the anomaly. Visible matter is the foam. Dark matter is the ocean, and the ocean is swirling. As we move into the next phase of understanding, we have to look at the dipole repeller again. The void is expanding. Voids grow faster than clusters collapse. The repeller is effectively an expanding bubble of nothingness pushing against us. This push is relentless. It clears the path. It ensures that we have nowhere to go but the attractor. It's a herding mechanism. The universe is organizing itself into walls and voids, a foam-like structure. We are in a wall, the filament, between two voids. The walls are flowing into the nodes, the attractors. We are just fluid in the plumbing of the cosmos. The breaking of physics is the realization that the universe behaves more like a fluid than a collection of rocks. It flows, it has turbulence, it has currents. We are caught in the undertow. So where does this leave us? We have established the anomaly. We have identified the suspects, Norma, Shapley, dark flow. We have recognized the limitations of our vision, zone of avoidance. We have felt the push of the repeller. The stage is set. The universe is not a static stage. It is a dynamic, violent machine. And we are inside the gears. The physics that breaks is our comfortable high school textbook physics, where F equals ma accounts for everything. Here, in the deep cosmos, the variables are unknown. The mass is missing. The speed is too high. The direction is ominous. We are ready to look deeper into the implications. What does this mean for the future of humanity? What does it mean for the nature of reality? The investigation continues, and the deeper we go, the darker it gets. The investigative journalist closes his notebook on the standard model. It's insufficient. The existential philosopher takes the mic. If the universe is isolating us, if the expansion is ripping galaxies apart, then gravity is the only force of unity left. The great attractor, for all its terror, is a gatherer. It is bringing things together. It is the last campfire in a cooling universe. Perhaps we should not fear the pull. Perhaps we should fear the day the pull stops. Because when the attractor loses its grip, that is when the true loneliness begins. The dark flow is the only thing keeping us connected to the greater structure of the cosmos. It is a lifeline, not a noose. Or perhaps it is both. As we stare into the zone of avoidance, we must remember that we are also an anomaly to someone else. To an observer in the Norma cluster, the Milky Way is part of their great attractor. We are part of the mass that is pulling them. We are the monster in someone else's sky. We are the dark matter hiding in their zone of avoidance. The horror is reciprocal. We are all dragging each other into the dark. It is a suicide pact of galaxies, a mutual agreement to fall together. We are not victims. We are participants in the great cosmic collapse. The scale of this structure, Laniakea, reminds us of the neural networks in the human brain. The filaments of galaxies look suspiciously like neurons. The voids look like the spaces between dendrites. Are we just a signal traveling down a nerve in a brain the size of the universe? If so, what is the thought? And is the great attractor a synapse firing? This panpsychism view is speculative, but the visual similarity is undeniable and unsettling. If the universe is a brain, the great attractor is a region of intense electrical activity, a seizure, and we are the atoms caught in the spasm. We have reached the limit of what the current standard model can comfortably explain. We are entering the realm of new physics. The sheer size of the great attractor and the speed of the dark flow hint at forces or particles we haven't discovered yet. Maybe it's dark energy behaving strangely. Maybe it's a modification of gravity. Maybe it's the result of cosmic topological defects, textures in space-time formed during the Big Bang. The investigative journalist admits, we need a better theory. The evidence is shouting at us that we are missing something huge. The universe is screaming, "You are wrong!" at our equations. And we are just beginning to listen. In the next phase of our journey, we will explore the specific theories that try to patch this hole in reality. We will look at the multiverse again. We will look at the idea of holographic universe. We will look at the end of the world. Because if the great attractor teaches us anything, it is that the universe is not a safe place. It is a place of violent forces, hidden traps, and inevitable flows. We are small. We are blind. And we are moving very, very fast. The seatbelt sign is on, but there is no pilot. As we pause to digest the sheer scale of the Laniakea supercluster, consider this. It takes light 500 million years to cross it. The structure we are part of is so vast that if you could send a message from one side to the other, civilizations would rise and fall, species would evolve and go extinct, and stars would burn out before the message arrived. We are bound to things we can never communicate with. We are gravitationally linked to galaxies that we will never meet. It is a relationship of silence. The great attractor is the silent heart of this silent empire. It rules without speaking. It commands without orders. It just is. And we obey. The zone of avoidance is a perfect metaphor for human ignorance. We have a blind spot right in the center of our vision. We fill it with monsters because we fear the dark. But in this case, the monster is real. The math proves it. The motion proves it. The only thing missing is the visual confirmation. And maybe that's a mercy. Maybe if we saw what was really at the core of the great attractor, the density, the violence, the distortion of light and time, our minds wouldn't be able to handle it. Maybe the dust of the Milky Way is saving us from going mad. We are shielded from the naked truth of the cosmos by the dust of our own home. If we peel back the layers of the standard model, we find that the great attractor might represent something far more fundamental than a mere clump of matter. It could be a topological defect in the fabric of space-time itself. In the fraction of a second after the Big Bang, as the universe cooled and underwent phase transitions, It is theorized that the fabric of reality didn't freeze evenly. Just as an ice cube can have cracks or bubbles trapped inside it as it freezes, the universe might have trapped high-energy distortions, cosmic strings or textures, within its structure. These defects would possess immense mass and gravitational influence, yet they wouldn't be made of matter in the traditional sense. They would be wrinkles in the scroll of the universe. If the Great Attractor is such a defect, then we are not being pulled by a cluster of galaxies. We are being pulled by a scar from the birth of the universe. It implies that the laws of physics are distorted in that region, because the space itself is knotted, creating a permanent gravitational sink that will never dissipate, a drain that was installed when the foundation was poured. The controversy surrounding the dark flow is not merely about the existence of the pull, but about the scale of the violation. The velocity we measure, 600 to 1,000 kilometers per second, is problematic because it appears to be constant out to distances of at least 2.5 billion light-years. In a standard universe, peculiar velocities should average out to zero as you look at larger and larger scales. The randomness should cancel itself out. But here, the arrow points the same way no matter how far out we look. This suggests that the entire observable universe within that radius is moving in unison. We are not just a car speeding on a highway. The highway itself is moving on a tectonic plate. This bulk flow challenges the core assumption of cosmology, that on large scales, the universe is homogeneous and isotropic. If the flow continues beyond the observable horizon, it means the universe has a quote-quote preferred direction, a fundamental axis of motion that mocks our belief in a symmetrical, indifferent cosmos. We are living in a tilted reality. This leads us to the terrifying concept of the cosmic horizon and the monsters that lie beyond it. The observable universe is defined by the distance light has traveled since the Big Bang. We sit inside a bubble of visibility roughly 93 billion light-years across. Beyond that bubble, the rest of the universe exists, but its light hasn't reached us yet. The dark flow data implies that the source of the Great Attractor's power, the true engine driving our motion, is located outside this bubble. We are being tugged by a rope that disappears into the dark. We can feel the tension on the line. We can measure the speed at which we are being dragged, but we can never, ever see who is holding the other end. It creates a Lovecraftian dynamic where humanity is grappling with forces that are literally beyond our event horizon of knowledge. We are puppets dancing to a tune played by an invisible orchestra located in the unobservable infinite. The evidence for this preferred direction is further corroborated by another anomaly in the cosmic microwave background, known as the axis of evil. When scientists analyzed the temperature fluctuations of the CMB, the oldest light in the universe, they expected a random distribution of hot and cold spots. Instead, they found a strange alignment. The dipole, quadrupole, and octupole moments, mathematical ways of describing the pattern of blobs, are all aligned along a single axis in the sky. This axis points roughly in the same direction as the Great Attractor and the dark flow. The chances of this happening by accident are roughly 1 in a million. It is as if someone drew a line through the universe and said, "This is the way." This alignment is so disturbing to physicists that they named it evil, because it threatens to destroy the Copernican principle, the idea that the Earth is not in a special or central position. If the axis of evil is real, the universe has a distinct geometry, and we are aligned with it in a way that suggests design, or a fundamental flaw in our understanding of randomness. Let's revisit the dipole repeller, because its mechanism is arguably more disturbing than the attractor itself. We understand gravity as a force of attraction. Mass pulls mass, but a repeller implies an anti-gravity effect. In the context of general relativity, this is an illusion caused by underdensity, but the effect is real. The void is a region of space that is effectively expanding faster than the surrounding areas because there is no gravity to slow it down. It acts like a pressurized bubble of nothingness, pushing the galaxies in its walls outward. We are being squeezed out of the void like toothpaste from a tube. The universe is not just pulling us into a trap, it is evicting us from our home. The dipole repeller is a vast, empty wasteland that refuses to allow structure to exist within it. It is a zone of cosmic exclusion, and we are currently fleeing it at breakneck speeds, driven by the expansion of the void at our backs and the hunger of the attractor ahead. To add another layer of complexity, There is a hypothesis that the Milky Way exists inside a massive, localized void known as the KBC void, Keenan-Barger-Cowie void. This theory suggests that our local region of the universe is significantly under-dense compared to the cosmic average. If we are living in a giant bubble of emptiness roughly 2 billion light-years wide, it would explain why the local expansion rate, the Hubble constant, seems higher than the rate measured from the early universe. Matter from the walls of our void would pull us outward, mimicking the effect of dark energy. If this is true, the Great Attractor might simply be the wall of our cage. We are looking from the inside of a bubble towards the dense shell and perceiving it as a monstrous attractor. In this scenario, we are the fish in a bowl, mistaking the glass of the tank for a mysterious gravitational anomaly. The horror here is claustrophobia. We are trapped in a pocket of nothingness, surrounded by a dense, impenetrable shell of galaxies. The breaking of physics also extends to our reliance on standard candles to measure these distances. We use type Ia supernovae to measure the expansion of the universe because they always explode with the same brightness. But recent studies suggest that the brightness of these supernovae might depend on the age of the galactic environment they are in. If the Great Attractor region is chemically different, older, more metal-rich, or evolving differently due to the high density, then the supernovae there might look different. Our ruler for measuring the cosmos might be warping in that specific direction. If our distance measurements are wrong, then our velocity measurements are wrong, and the energy calculations are wrong. We might be vastly underestimating the size of the attractor. It could be closer and smaller, or further and unimaginably larger. The foundation of astrophysics is built on the assumption that physics is universal. The Great Attractor challenges us with the possibility that physics is local. Let's talk about modified Newtonian dynamics. MOND again, but with a darker twist. If dark matter doesn't exist, and gravity simply behaves differently at low accelerations, then the Great Attractor is the ultimate testing ground. In the deep, ultra-low acceleration voids like the dipole repeller, gravity might switch off or behave weirdly, while in the high-density attractor it might supercharge. This would mean the universe has gravitational weather. Just as you have high-pressure and low-pressure systems in the atmosphere, the cosmos might have regions of high gravity and low gravity independent of mass. We are currently caught in a gale-force wind of gravity. This theory removes the need for invisible particles but replaces it with a universe where the fundamental laws are fickle, changing based on where you are standing. It makes the cosmos unpredictable, a place where you cannot trust your footing because the floor itself changes consistency. The structures we are talking about, Laniakea, the Shapley supercluster, the Great Wall, are the largest known things in existence. They are the cosmic web. Computer simulations of dark matter show the universe looking like a vast, three-dimensional spiderweb. The galaxies are just tiny pearls of dew clinging to the silk threads of dark matter. The Great Attractor is a massive intersection, a knot where thousands of these silk threads come together. We are sliding down one of the threads. The horror of the cosmic web is that it implies a predator. A web is a catching device. While there is no literal spider, the geometry acts like one. Matter falls in, gets trapped in the gravitational potential well, and never leaves. The universe is a machine designed to concentrate matter into black holes. We are simply traversing the silk before we reach the center of the web, where the digestion begins. What actually happens to a galaxy when it falls into the Great Attractor? It undergoes a process called RAM pressure stripping. The space between galaxies in a cluster is not empty. It is filled with extremely hot diffuse gas, known as the intercluster medium, ICM. As a galaxy speeds into this medium at millions of kilometers per hour, the wind of the gas blows the galaxy's own gas supply out of it. It's like rolling down the window in a speeding car and watching the loose papers fly out. This gas is the fuel for new stars. Without it, the galaxy dies. It stops forming stars and becomes a red and dead elliptical galaxy. The Great Attractor is a galaxy killer. It strips the life out of the systems that fall into it, leaving them as sterile, aging husks. We are heading towards a region that will effectively suffocate the Milky Way, turning off the lights of star formation forever. Astronomers have captured images of these victim galaxies. They call them jellyfish galaxies. You can see long tentacles of gas streaming behind them, ripped away by the pressure of the cluster environment. These tentacles are glowing with the light of dying stars that were born in the wake of the destruction. It is a beautiful, violent death. The Great Attractor is full of these jellyfish, a school of dying worlds swimming into the net. The Milky Way still has its gas. We are still forming stars. But as we get closer to the dense regions of the Laniakea Center, we will face the same headwinds. Our future is to become a jellyfish, to have our lifeblood ripped away by the friction of our passage, leaving behind a trail of blue fire before we fade into the red twilight of a dead galaxy. Another mechanism of death in these regions is strangulation. Even if the gas isn't stripped away violently, the hot environment of the Great Attractor prevents the galaxy from accreting new gas from the cosmos. It cuts off the supply line. The galaxy uses up what it has and then slowly starves to death. This is a slower, more agonizing demise than ram pressure stripping. It is a siege. The Great Attractor besieges the galaxies that enter its domain, waiting for them to run out of supplies. This explains why the clusters are filled with elliptical galaxies, zombie worlds that have long since ceased to function as star factories. The investigative journalist looks at this and sees a graveyard. The Great Attractor is not a city, it is a necropolis. It is where galaxies go to end their lives. But before we even reach the Great Attractor, we have a local appointment with destiny. The Milky Way is currently falling towards the Virgo cluster, a smaller but significant knot in the Webb. The Virgo cluster is, in turn, falling towards the Great Attractor. It is a hierarchy of falls. But even closer to home, we are on a collision course with the Andromeda Galaxy. In about 4 billion years, our two galaxies will smash into each other. This event will radically reshape our sky. We will merge to form Milkomeda. The terror here is that while we worry about the Great Attractor, our immediate future is already sealed in a violent merger. The Great Attractor is the distant monster, but Andromeda is the knife at our throat. The universe offers no safety, only a choice of which collision will happen first. Let's consider the intracluster light. In the dense core of the Great Attractor, billions of stars have been ripped away from their parent galaxies by tidal forces. These are rogue stars, wandering the empty void between the galaxies. They belong to no one. They orbit the center of mass of the cluster itself. If you lived on a planet orbiting one of these stars, your night sky would be pitch black, devoid of the milky band of a home galaxy, only receiving the faint, distant glow of other galaxies. You would be truly alone in the dark. The Great Attractor is creating a population of cosmic orphans, stars that have been divorced from their systems and cast into the intergalactic wilderness. It is a place of profound isolation amidst the chaos of the crowd. The sheer mass of the Great Attractor creates a gravitational lens of epic proportions. Light from behind the attractor is bent, magnified, and distorted as it passes through the cluster. If we could see through the dust, we would see a funhouse mirror version of the universe behind it. Galaxies would look like stretched arcs or rings, Einstein rings. This lensing effect allows us to see things that are otherwise too faint, but it also distorts reality. The attractor acts as a massive glass eye, warping our view of the deep cosmos. It reminds us that gravity doesn't just move matter. It bends light and time. The view of reality is never direct. It is always filtered through the mass of the giants that stand in the way. There is a theory known as the Big Rip, which suggests that if dark energy gets strong enough, it won't just push galaxies apart, it will eventually overcome gravity entirely, ripping apart clusters, then galaxies, then solar systems, and finally atoms. The Great Attractor is currently winning the war against dark energy locally, holding the structure together. But if the Big Rip scenario is true, even the Great Attractor will eventually be torn asunder. The massive structure we fear will be dismantled piece by piece. The investigative journalist sees this as the ultimate irony. The monster that is eating us will itself be eaten by the vacuum. There is always a bigger fish, and in this case, the biggest fish is the emptiness of space itself. The Bootes Void, also known as the Great Nothing, offers a stark contrast to the Great Attractor. Located in the constellation Bootes, it is a sphere of emptiness 330 million light-years across. If the Milky Way were in the center of the Bootes Void, we wouldn't have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. It is a place of extreme loneliness. The existence of such supervoids alongside superattractors highlights the clumpiness of the universe. Matter is evacuating the voids and piling up in the attractors. We are witnessing the segregation of the universe. The rich get richer in mass, and the poor get poorer. We are leaving the era of the smooth universe and entering the era of the island universe, where life will only exist in dense, hostile clusters separated by oceans of eternal darkness. What if the great attractor is a great filter? In the Fermi paradox, the great filter is whatever prevents dead matter from becoming expanding spacefaring life. Perhaps the radiation environment in the dense clusters like the attractor is so intense. Gamma ray bursts, supernovae, active galactic nuclei, that complex life is impossible there. We might be safe in the suburbs of the local group, but as we fall towards the city center, the radiation levels will rise. Are we heading into a sterilization zone? Maybe the reason we don't hear from aliens is that most of them live in these dense clusters and have been nuked by their own environment. The attractor might be a trap that lures matter in and then sterilizes it with cosmic fire. The investigative journalist asks about the zone of avoidance again. Is it possible that we are missing a local void right next to us? Recent maps suggest the local void is actually pushing us towards the Virgo cluster. We are sitting on the edge of a cliff. Behind us is the local void. Ahead of us is the Virgo cluster and the great attractor. We are sliding down the slope. The geography of our local universe is defined by this slope. It determines our future velocity and our eventual merger. We are not static observers. We are skiers on a black diamond run, picking up speed, unable to stop, with the avalanche of the local void chasing us down the mountain. Let's discuss primordial black holes. Some physicists speculate that the dark matter comprising the great attractor isn't a particle, but billions of asteroid-sized black holes formed in the Big Bang. If this is true, the great attractor is a swarm of invisible singularities. They would pass through our solar system without us seeing them, but their gravity would disrupt planetary orbits. A swarm of these hitting the Earth would be like being shot by a gravitational shotgun. The breaking of physics here is the idea that the universe is filled with tiny, invisible holes in reality, and they have all gathered in one place to wait for us. It turns the attractor into a minefield. The Hubble tension problem, the fact that the universe seems to be expanding at different speeds depending on how you measure it, might be solved by the great attractor. If we are in a high-velocity flow, our local measurements are biased. We are measuring the expansion of the universe while running on a moving walkway. We think the walkway is the ground, but it's not. The attractor distorts our perception of the entire cosmos. It implies that our fundamental constants might be local constants. We are trying to derive universal truths from a biased sample. This is the cosmic variance problem. We only have one universe to look at, and we are looking at it from a very messy, moving vantage point. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is our newest weapon in this fight. Its infrared eyes can peer through the dust of the zone of avoidance better than any optical telescope. It is currently hunting for the galaxies hiding in the dark. Early images are already revealing that the empty spaces are not empty. The zone is teeming with structure. Every new image adds mass to the equation. Every new galaxy found is another weight on the scale. The JWST is slowly filling in the map of the dragons. It is turning the unknown unknown into a known unknown. We are finally seeing the bars of our cage. But what if JWST finds something that shouldn't be there? Early galaxies that are too big, too bright, too soon. This is already happening. We are finding universe breakers in the deep past. If the great attractor region contains these impossible galaxies, it strengthens the idea that the standard model of galaxy formation is wrong. Maybe black holes formed first, and galaxies grew around them. Maybe the seeds of the attractor were supermassive black holes present at the dawn of time. This reverses the order of creation. It wasn't gas to stars to galaxies, it was monsters to gas to food. The universe was built by the monsters for the monsters. The dark sirens are gravitational waves. When black holes collide in the great attractor, they send ripples through space-time. These ripples pass through the Earth, stretching and squeezing us by a fraction of an atom's width. Detectors like LIGO and Virgo, the detector not the cluster, are listening for these chirps. The Great Attractor should be a cacophony of these signals. It is the noisy neighbor of the gravitational universe. By listening to the screams of colliding black holes, we can map the mass of the attractor without ever seeing it. We are becoming blind bats, navigating the dark cave of the cosmos by the echoes of destruction. The concept of entropy dictates that the universe moves from order to disorder. The Great Attractor seems to contradict this locally by creating order, structure, but in doing so it generates massive amounts of heat and radiation disorder. It is an entropy machine. It accelerates the death of the universe by processing matter into useless heat. It is an engine of decay disguised as a builder of worlds. We are fuel for this engine. The existential philosopher notes that our destiny is to be processed, to be broken down from complex biological beings into simple heat radiation in the halo of a supercluster. We are a temporary fluctuation in the descent into thermal equilibrium. Let's imagine the view from a planet inside the Great Attractor. The night sky would be dazzling. Thousands of galaxies would be visible to the naked eye, some large and spiral, others tearing each other apart. Supernovae would be a nightly occurrence. The sky would be awash in the glow of intracluster gas. It would be beautiful, but deadly. The cosmic rays would be intense. Evolution there would have to cope with a radiation environment that would kill a human in minutes. If life exists there, it is extremophile life on a galactic scale, lead-lined biology. Creatures born in the heart of the reactor. The fractal universe hypothesis suggests that the clustering we see continues infinitely. Galaxies cluster into superclusters, superclusters into hyperclusters, and so on. If this is true, the Great Attractor is just a tiny atom in a much larger structure we can't perceive. And that structure is an atom in another. It makes us infinitely small. The breaking of physics is the realization that scale is an illusion. We are trapped in a Russian nesting doll of gravity that has no outer layer. We will never reach the top. We will never see the whole picture because the picture is infinite. The simulation theory proponents look at the Great Attractor and ask, is this a rendering optimization? In video games, distant objects are rendered with less detail. The zone of avoidance, the Great Attractor, the dark flow, are these artifacts of the code? Is the limit of observation a way to save processing power? The breakdown of physics at these large scales, the axis of evil, the cold spot, looks suspiciously like a glitch, a seam in the skybox. If we are in a simulation, the Great Attractor is the loading zone for the next level. Or the trash bin where deleted files, galaxies are sent. The anthropic principle argues that we are here because the universe is capable of supporting life. But the Great Attractor tests this. If the flow were slightly faster, galaxies wouldn't have formed, they would have been ripped apart. If it were slower, stars might not have condensed. We exist in a Goldilocks flow, just fast enough to create structure, not fast enough to destroy it. We are surfing the wave of a catastrophe that is perfectly tuned to allow us to exist for a brief moment before it crashes. It implies a precariousness to our existence. We are balancing on the edge of a knife. What if the Great Attractor is a wormhole, a bridge to another point in space-time? The extreme mass could theoretically punch a hole in the manifold. The dark flow is matter draining into the wormhole. Where does it go? Another universe? The past? A white hole somewhere else spewing matter out? If it is a wormhole, it is a one-way trip. Nothing comes back. It is a cosmic drain pipe. The breaking of physics is literal here. The continuity of space is broken. We are heading towards the exit sign of our reality. The information paradox usually applies to black holes, but it applies here too. As galaxies recede from us due to expansion or fall into the attractor and get redshifted into invisibility, their information is lost to us. The history of the universe is being erased. We are losing the ability to reconstruct the past. The Great Attractor is an eraser. It is scrubbing the chalkboard. Future scientists will have less data than we do. We are living in the peak information era. It's all downhill from here. We are the archivists of a burning library. The Great Wall structures, like the Sloan Great Wall and the Boss Great Wall, are filaments of the Webb that dwarf even Laniakea. They are billions of light years long. The Great Attractor is a node connecting these walls. We are driving along a highway that spans a significant percentage of the observable universe. These structures shouldn't exist in the standard model. There hasn't been enough time since the Big Bang for gravity to build things this big. They are impossible objects. Their existence proves that our timeline of the universe is flawed. Something accelerated the construction. Something built the walls faster than gravity should allow. The dark forest theory of alien civilization suggests that everyone stays quiet to avoid predators. The Great Attractor might be the reason. If advanced civilizations know about the attractor, they might know it's a death trap. They avoid the flow. They build engines to stay in the voids. The flow regions are the hunting grounds. By drifting with the current, we are announcing our naivete. We are floating down the river loudly, while the smart swimmers are hiding in the reeds. We are walking into a trap that the rest of the universe has learned to fear. Let's consider magnetic fields. Intergalactic space is permeated by faint magnetic fields. In the Great Attractor, these fields are twisted and amplified by the chaotic motion of the gas. They form giant magnetic ropes and tunnels. These fields can accelerate particles to near light speed, cosmic rays. The Great Attractor is a particle accelerator. It shoots high-energy protons across the universe. Some of the cosmic rays hitting Earth right now, mutating our DNA, might have been fired from the cannon of the Great Attractor millions of years ago. We are being sniped by the monster. The sound of the Great Attractor. Space is a vacuum, but the gas in clusters can carry pressure waves, sound. The Perseus cluster sings in B-flat. The Great Attractor, being more massive, likely sings a lower, more terrifying note. A deep, resonant hum created by the turbulence of the infalling matter. It is the Om of destruction, a gravitational chant that vibrates through the intergalactic medium. We cannot hear it with our ears, but our radio telescopes can see the ripples it leaves in the gas. The monster is growling. The Kardashev scale classifies civilizations by energy use. A Type 3 civilization controls a galaxy. A Type 4 would control a supercluster. If a Type 4 civilization exists, they would be at the Great Attractor. It is the energy hub of the local universe. They would be harvesting the infall energy, the black hole mergers, the X-ray gas. The anomaly might be them. The dark flow might be artificial. Are we being pulled by a tractor beam? Is the Great Attractor a megastructure built by gods? It's unlikely, but the fact that the physics is broken makes alien engineering a non-zero probability. The end of greatness is a distant scale, about 300 million light-years, where the universe is supposed to look smooth. The dark flow violates this. It shows structure and motion way beyond the end of greatness. This means the universe does not become smooth. It stays lumpy. It stays chaotic. There is no scale where peace exists. The turbulence is scale invariant. From the atom to the supercluster, it is chaos all the way down and chaos all the way up. We are looking for a quiet place that does not exist. The cold spot in the CMB might be a supervoid so empty that it sucks energy out of light passing through it, the integrated Sachs-Wolf effect. If the Great Attractor is the mountain, the cold spot is the canyon. They are the yin and yang of the local cosmos. We are poised between them. The tension between the Great Attractor and the cold spot defines our galactic climate. We are caught in the draft between the open window and the fireplace. The vacuum catastrophe. Quantum field theory predicts a vacuum energy density that is 120 orders of magnitude higher than what we observe. This is the worst prediction in the history of physics. The Great Attractor might be a region where this value is different. Maybe the vacuum energy is not constant. If the cosmological constant varies, then the expansion rate varies. The Great Attractor is the laboratory where we might find the answer to the biggest error in science. Or it might be the place where the error kills us. The investigative journalist concludes, the numbers don't add up. The mass is missing. The motion is too fast. The alignment is too perfect. The Great Attractor is a smoking gun. But who fired the shot? Was it the Big Bang, a multiverse collision, or something else? The evidence points to a universe that is far stranger and far more dynamic than the static, safe void we see in our planetariums. The map is not the territory. The territory is moving. The existential philosopher speaks, we are orphans of the flow. We are born in a galaxy that is falling. Our entire history, from the first microbe to the moon landing, has happened while falling. We have never known a static universe. We have never known a safe speed. We are born in the ambulance, rushing to the hospital. Does it matter if we crash? Or does the journey matter? The Great Attractor gives us a direction. In a meaningless universe, it offers a destination, even if that destination is death. Let's visualize the Laniakea borders. They are defined by the watershed. If you step 1 light-year over the border, you fall into the Perseus-Pisces supercluster instead. We are on the edge of the divide. We almost fell the other way. The randomness of our location determined our fate. We belong to Laniakea. We belong to the Attractor. It is our nation-state in the cosmos. Nationalism on a scale of 500 million light-years. The zone of avoidance is slowly being mapped by radio waves. We are finding galaxies like Dwingaloo 1 and Maffei 1. They are huge, close neighbors we never knew we had. Imagine living in a house and not knowing there is an elephant in the living room because the lights are off. We are turning on the lights with radio astronomy, and the elephant is looking at us. The hidden galaxy, IC342, is another giant lurking behind the dust. The crowd is bigger than we thought. The dipole repeller creates a void wind. It pushes matter away. This wind is clearing the space around us. It is isolating the filaments. Over time, the voids will empty completely, and the filaments will become tight, dense ropes of galaxies. The universe is becoming sharper. The contrast is increasing. We are moving from a blurry watercolor to a sharp, high-contrast ink drawing. The lines are being drawn, and we are being forced onto the line. The future of the Great Attractor. As the universe expands, the flow will eventually be cut off. The event horizon will separate us from the distant parts of the flow. The attractor will be starved. It will run out of infalling matter. It will slowly fade as its stars die. It will become a dark attractor, a graveyard of black holes circling each other in the dark. A monument to the era of galaxies. We are seeing it in its prime. We are witnessing the peak of the cosmic party before the lights go out. The Frontier Explorer looks at the technology we need. We need neutrino detectors. Neutrinos pass through the Earth, the Sun, and the dust of the Milky Way without stopping. They come straight from the core of the Great Attractor. If we can build a neutrino eye, we can see the monster naked. We can see the nuclear reactions in its heart. The ice cube detector in Antarctica is the first step. We are building eyes in the ice to see the fire in the sky. The dark flow is a challenge to Einstein. General relativity works well in the solar system. It works okay in the galaxy, but at the scale of the Great Attractor, the cracks appear. Maybe we need conformal gravity. Maybe we need quantum gravity. The attractor is the key. If we can unlock its secrets, we might find the theory of everything, or the theory of nothing. It is the ultimate puzzle box. The human connection. Why does this matter to you sitting at your computer? Because the atoms in your body were forged in stars. Those stars obey these laws. The iron in your blood is subject to the dark flow. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe. If the universe is being pulled, you are being pulled. You are a passenger on the Titanic, arguing about the dinner menu while the iceberg approaches. The Great Attractor is your destination too. The finality of the flow. There is no turning back. Gravity is a one-way street. We cannot build an engine to reverse the flow of the Milky Way. We are committed. This determinism is chilling. Our path was set 13.8 billion years ago. Free will exists for humans, but not for galaxies. We are bound by the chains of the Big Bang. The Great Attractor is the anchor pulling the chain. As we reach the midpoint of our investigation, the picture is clear but incomplete. We know that we are moving. We know roughly where. We know roughly why. But the details, the dark flow beyond the horizon, the dipole repeller void, the axis of evil, point to a universe that is fundamentally broken or misunderstood. The standard model is a map of a city that doesn't exist. We are drawing a new map, and the landmarks are monsters. As we map the local architecture of the universe, we discover that the Milky Way is not merely floating in a void. We are trapped in a two-dimensional prison known as the local sheet. This is a flat, pancake-like structure of galaxies extending over millions of light-years. We, along with Andromeda and the members of the Virgo cluster, are embedded in this sheet. The existence of the local sheet is a profound clue about the nature of the dark flow. It implies that gravity has collapsed the local matter into a wall, and this wall is now sliding as a single unit towards the great attractor. We are like ink on a page that is being pulled into a shredder. The flatness of our local environment suggests that the voids above and below us have squeezed us into this shape. We are being compressed by the emptiness, flattened by the expansion of the local void and the southern void. It is a cosmic press, and we are the material being forged into a filament. The geometry of our existence is defined by the pressure of nothingness pushing against the pull of the monster. To understand the violence waiting for us in the great attractor, we can look at a similar structure known as El Gordo, the Fat One. This is a massive galaxy cluster located 7 billion light-years away. It is the largest, hottest, and brightest cluster ever discovered in the distant universe. El Gordo is actually two massive subclusters colliding at millions of kilometers per hour. The collision is so violent that it has separated the normal matter from the dark matter. The gas has been slowed down by friction, glowing with the intensity of a billion suns in X-rays, while the dark matter has ghosted through, carrying the galaxies with it. This is the bullet cluster phenomenon on steroids. It proves that when these massive attractors form, they do so through cataclysmic mergers that tear the components of the universe apart. If the great attractor is anything like El Gordo, and the mass estimates suggest it is, then we are heading into a region where the fundamental ingredients of galaxies are being centrifuged by the sheer force of the impact. The investigative journalist points to El Gordo and asks a dangerous question: how did something this big form so early in the universe? According to the standard model of cosmology, lambda CDM, structure builds up slowly. Small clumps merge to form big clumps. But El Gordo is too big, too early. It shouldn't exist yet. Its existence challenges the timeline of the universe. It suggests that the growth of these attractors is accelerated by some unknown mechanism. Perhaps the dark flow feeds them faster than gravity alone should allow. Or perhaps the initial conditions of the Big Bang were not random, but seeded with these monsters from the start. If El Gordo is an impossible object, then the great attractor might be an impossible destination, a place where the rules of growth and time have been violated to create a gravitational stronghold that dominates our future. Let's delve deeper into the Council of Giants. This is the name astronomers have given to a ring of 12 massive galaxies that surround the local group, including Maffei 1, Maffei 2, and Centaurus A. This ring is roughly 12 million light-years in radius. What is terrifying is that this ring is seemingly organized. It creates a boundary condition for our local existence. It acts like a fence. And this fence is participating in the flow. We are being escorted by these giants towards the great attractor. The dynamics of this council suggest a coordinated motion that is hard to explain with random chance. Are we part of a coherent biological-like structure? Is the Council of Giants the cell wall of our local cosmic cell, and we are the nucleus, all drifting together in the bloodstream of the Laniakea supercluster? The as above so below philosophy rings alarmingly true here. The macrocosm mirrors the microcosm, and we are just a tiny organelle in a vast moving body. The Frontier Explorer looks at the phenomenon of fast radio bursts, FRBs. These are millisecond-long blasts of radio energy that carry as much power as the sun generates in a century. Their origin is a mystery, but many seem to come from highly magnetized environments in distant galaxies. Could the great attractor be a source of these bursts? If the core of the attractor is a dense knot of magnetars, neutron stars with terrifying magnetic fields, and colliding black holes, it should be a lighthouse of FRBs. We are detecting these signals from all over the sky, but if we focused our ears on the zone of avoidance, we might hear a continuous scream. The breaking of physics might be the conversion of magnetic potential energy into radio blasts that scour the intergalactic medium. We are sailing towards a coast where the lighthouse beams are powerful enough to fry electronics and erase data. This brings us to the Kardashev limit. If a civilization advanced enough to harvest the energy of a black hole exists, they would naturally migrate towards the great attractor. Why? Because that's where the mass is. That's where the energy density is highest. In a dying universe, the attractors are the last oases. The dark flow might be the migration route of the gods. If we follow the flow, we might find that the great attractor is not just a natural phenomenon, but a cosmic metropolis crowded with the refugees of a trillion stars, all huddled around the dying warmth of the gravitational fire. The silence we hear might be the result of efficient energy harvesting, a Dyson swarm on the scale of a supercluster, blocking the light and heat, leaving only the gravitational footprint of their existence. It is a chilling thought. The monster is invisible because it has been wrapped in a blanket of solar panels. But let's retreat to the standard model nightmare. The lambda CDM model assumes that dark energy is a cosmological constant. It pushes with the same force everywhere and everywhen. But the existence of the great attractor and the dark flow hints that dark energy might be dynamic. It might be quintessence, a field that changes over time and space. If quintessence is real, then the universe's expansion is not predictable. In the region of the great attractor, the interplay between the massive gravity and the scalar field of dark energy could create bubbles where the laws of expansion are reversed. We might be entering a collapsing bubble within an expanding universe. A local Big Crunch. While the rest of the cosmos freezes in the heat death, our sector implodes in a fiery reunion. We would be the last fireworks show in a dark universe. The existential philosopher contemplates the arrow of time. Entropy increases as time moves forward, but gravity creates order from disorder, clumping gas into stars. The great attractor is a massive engine of gravitational ordering. Does time behave differently there? In the presence of such extreme gravity, the thermodynamic arrow of time is clear, but the psychological arrow might be warped. If the density is high enough to significantly warp space-time, the future and the past become murky concepts. We are falling towards a point where the timeline of the universe knots upon itself. The breaking of physics is the loss of the linear narrative. We are entering a region of cyclic time, of eternal recurrence, where galaxies die and are reborn in the accretion disks of the supermassive black holes. A cosmic samsara. The cosmic variance implies that our view of the universe is statistically insignificant because we only have one sample point. Earth. We assume the great attractor is an anomaly. But what if it's the norm? What if the smooth universe is the lie, and the lumpy, flowing, violent universe is the truth? We might be living in a rural area of the cosmos that is unusually quiet, and now we are seeing the urban reality. The majority of the universe's matter might be locked in these flow structures. The standard model might be a model of the voids, not the filaments. We have built our physics on the behavior of nothingness, and now we are confronting the behavior of somethingness. The great attractor is the reality check that tells us we have been studying the empty space, not the matter. Consider the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, applied to the macrocosm. We cannot know the position and momentum of a particle simultaneously with perfect precision. Does this apply to galaxies? The dark flow seems to violate the randomness we expect. It is too precise. It is too directional. It suggests a determinism that quantum mechanics usually rejects. This brings up the pilot wave theory, or superdeterminism. Perhaps the universe is not probabilistic. Perhaps every motion, from the spin of an electron to the drift of the Milky Way, was hard-coded at the Big Bang. We are on rails. The great attractor is not a destination we might hit. It is the only destination allowed by the code. We are watching a movie that has already been filmed, and the ending is a crash. The investigative journalist looks at the Great Cold Spot again. It is 1.8 billion light-years across. It is cooler than the surroundings by 0.00015 Kelvin. That sounds small, but statistically, it is a mountain. If the cold spot is a supervoid, it is the emptiest place in existence. It is the antithesis of the great attractor. The universe is polarizing. It is separating into the hot and heavy, and the cold and empty. We are currently in the flow between the two. The breaking of physics is the segregation of reality. The laws of physics in the center of the cold spot, where there is no matter, and the laws in the center of the attractor, where there is too much, might be diverging. We are heading towards the region of maximum interaction from the region of minimum interaction. Let's talk about galactic cannibalism in the attractor. The Milky Way is a cannibal. We have eaten smaller galaxies like the Sagittarius dwarf spheroidal. But in the Great Attractor, the cannibalism is industrial. It is a slaughterhouse. Galaxies are torn apart, their stars stolen, their shapes ruined. The central galaxy of the Norma cluster is a bloated monster that has consumed thousands of its siblings. It sits at the bottom of the well, growing fatter with every meal. When we look at the dark flow, we are looking at the conveyor belt feeding this beast. We are the meal. It is a slow, billions of years long digestion process. But the outcome is certain. We will be incorporated into the body of the giant. Our distinct identity will be erased. The local void pushing us is estimated to be 150 million light-years across. It is expanding. As it expands, it pushes the local sheet faster. This means our acceleration is increasing. We are not just falling. We are being shoved. The void push accounts for about 200 kilometers per second of our velocity. This dual engine, the pull of the attractor and the push of the void, creates a dipole in the gravity field. It is a cosmic battery, and we are the charge moving between the terminals. The horror is that the void is growing. It is eating the space behind us. If we tried to turn back, we would face an expanding wall of nothingness. We are being herded by the geometry of space itself. The Centaurus cluster is another stop on our line. It is a massive cluster within the Great Attractor region. It is filled with active galactic nuclei, AGNs. These are supermassive black holes that are actively shooting jets of plasma hundreds of thousands of light-years into space. These jets are like death rays. If a planet crosses the path of a jet, its atmosphere is stripped in seconds. The Great Attractor is a crisscross of these jets. It is a minefield of high-energy particle beams. Navigating this region would be impossible for biology as we know it. We are drifting towards a sector where the weather consists of relativistic plasma streams. The existential philosopher wonders about the silence. If the Great Attractor is so dense, and potentially the home of ancient civilizations, why is it silent? Perhaps the dark forest is true, or perhaps the environment is just too loud. The radio noise from the gas collisions and black holes might drown out any artificial signal. We are trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. Or, more frighteningly, the civilizations there have transcended matter. They have become the flow. They are the dark matter. The intelligence of the universe has abandoned the baryonic, visible matter and moved into the dark sector to escape the radiation. We are the leftovers, the primitive matter left behind to burn. The holographic principle suggests that all the information in a volume of space can be described by the information on its boundary. If the Great Attractor creates a massive event horizon, not of a black hole, but of a region from which we cannot escape, then our information is being plastered onto that horizon. We are becoming 2D data on the surface of a 3D trap. The breaking of physics is the reduction of our reality. As we fall into the attractor, our degrees of freedom are removed. We are becoming a hologram. The complexity of human history, of life on Earth, is being compressed into a string of bits on the edge of the Laniakea Drain. The Frontier Explorer considers the James Webb deep fields again. JWST is finding red and dead galaxies in the early universe. This shouldn't happen. Galaxies need time to die. If the Great Attractor region killed galaxies quickly in the early universe, it means the environment was hostile from the very beginning. It was never a cradle, it was always a grave. The zone of avoidance might be hiding a massive graveyard of the first galaxies, the first victims of the overdensity. We are headed to the elephant graveyard of the cosmos. The dipole repeller might not be empty. It might be full of dark energy. If dark energy is a property of space, then more space means more dark energy. The voids are the factories of the force that is ripping the universe apart. The repeller is an engine of destruction. It is generating the expansion that will eventually isolate every galaxy. We are running away from the source of the Big Rip, but we can't run forever. Eventually, the repeller will grow so large that it consumes the filaments. The Great Attractor will be isolated and then ripped apart. The trap will eventually shatter, but not before it crushes us. The Shapley supercluster is the true heavyweight champion. It makes the Great Attractor look small. It contains the mass of 10,000 Milky Ways. It is the largest gravitationally bound structure we know of. It is the attractor behind the attractor. The Great Attractor is just a local anomaly. Shapley is the regional governor. We are falling towards the Great Attractor, which is falling towards Shapley. It is a cascade. The sheer scale of Shapley defies comprehension. It distorts the space-time metric so severely that light passing near it is redshifted by gravity alone. It is a gravity mountain so high that time at the peak runs significantly faster than in the valley. The fine-tuning problem suggests that if the force of gravity were slightly stronger, the universe would have collapsed instantly. If slightly weaker, no stars would have formed. The Great Attractor represents a region where gravity appears effectively stronger due to density. It is a localized Big Crunch simulation. It shows us what would have happened if the tuning were different. It is a window into a failed universe. A universe where structure won over expansion too early. We are looking at a mistake in the recipe of the cosmos, a clump of flour that didn't get mixed in, and now it is spoiling the whole cake. The Tully-Fisher relation links the mass of a galaxy to its rotation speed. It works everywhere, except maybe here. Some studies suggest that galaxies in the high-flow regions don't obey this law perfectly. They spin too fast or too slow. The environment is messing with their internal mechanics. This is the definition of physics breaking, when a universal law becomes a suggestion based on your zip code. If the Tully-Fisher relation fails, our method of weighing galaxies fails. We might be calculating the mass of the attractor all wrong, because the fundamental relationship between mass and spin is warped by the external tidal fields. The Bolshoi simulation is one of the most accurate computer models of the universe. It predicts the cosmic web perfectly, but even the Bolshoi simulation struggles to reproduce the dark flow at the scale we see. The simulation predicts randomness at 100 megaparsecs. The reality shows coherence. This means the simulation is missing a variable. What did we forget to program into the universe? Did we forget the influence of other universes? Did we get the nature of dark matter wrong? The discrepancy between the code and the reality is the gap where the monsters live. The Great Attractor is the error message on the screen of the cosmic computer. The investigative journalist asks, is the Great Attractor a strange attractor? In chaos theory, a strange attractor is a complex fractal structure towards which a system evolves. It represents a state of chaos that is paradoxically stable. The Great Attractor might be the physical manifestation of chaotic dynamics. The galaxies are not just falling, they are entering a chaotic orbit they will never settle. They will bounce around the gravitational well forever, unable to escape, unable to merge, trapped in a dynamic purgatory of infinite complexity. We are not heading towards a crash, we are heading towards a maze. The cosmic strings theory surfaces again. If the Great Attractor is seeded by a loop of cosmic string, a 1D defect with immense mass, it would explain the filament nature of the connection. We are sliding down the string. Cosmic strings are hypothetical, but if they exist, they are razor-thin cracks in reality that are infinitely dense. Passing near one would be catastrophic. It would slice a planet in half like a cheese wire. If the Laniakea flow is guided by a backbone of cosmic strings, we are riding the edge of a razor blade through the dark. The zone of avoidance also hides the Puppis A supernova remnant, a massive explosion that happened 700 years ago. It's one of the brightest X-ray sources in the sky, but invisible to the eye. The zone is full of these violent ghosts. It is a gallery of explosions we missed. The Great Attractor is likely shrouded in the debris of millions of such explosions. It is a dusty, radioactive fog. We are flying into a storm cloud made of the ashes of dead stars. The windshield of the Milky Way is going to get very dirty. The local velocity field shows that we are moving at 600 kilometers per second relative to the CMB. But the CMB itself is a relic of the past. We are measuring our speed against a ghost. What is our speed relative to the future? The expansion is accelerating. In the future frame of reference, we are actually slowing down as the space expands faster than we can fall. We are fighting a losing battle against the stretching of the road. The Great Attractor is pulling us, but the road is lengthening. We are in a nightmare where you run as fast as you can, but the hallway keeps getting longer. The cluster of the future concept again. In 100 billion years, the local group will merge, but because of the acceleration, the Great Attractor might eventually be pushed beyond our horizon. We will lose sight of it. We will be left alone in a merged blob of stars, Milkometa, surrounded by absolute blackness. The Great Attractor is the last landmark we will ever see before the lights go out. It is the final destination of our cosmology, before the universe becomes too large to comprehend. We are studying the last thing that matters. The Great Repeller pushes us. The Great Attractor pulls us. But there is a third player, the Great Wall. The slung Great Wall is a barrier. It defines the structure. We are living in a room with a floor, repeller, a ceiling, attractor, and walls. Great walls. We are not in open space. We are in a cell. The cosmic web is a prison architecture. The realization that the universe has walls is claustrophobic. It destroys the idea of the infinite open frontier. There is no frontier. There is only the structure, and the structure dictates the flow. The Hydra Centaurus supercluster is the visible face of the Great Attractor. It's the mask. It contains thousands of galaxies, but the calculations show it's not enough mass. The mask is hiding something. The backside of the attractor is the mystery. What lies behind the Hydra Centaurus region? The dark flow points through it. It points to something behind the curtain. We are looking at the stage, but the puppeteer is backstage, and the backstage is the zone of avoidance. The universe is staging a play, and we are not allowed to see the director. The existential philosopher ponders the why. Why are we here? Why in this flow? Why in this specific filament? If the universe is infinite, every possibility exists. We exist in the region where observers can exist. Perhaps in the center of the Great Attractor, the radiation is too high for observers. In the repeller, the matter is too sparse. We are in the habitable zone of the supercluster. The Goldilocks flow. We are safe because we are distant, but we are moving from safety to danger. Our existence is a temporary privilege of our position on the slope. The observer effect in quantum mechanics says looking changes the outcome. Does measuring the dark flow change it? No, but it changes us. It changes our perception of safety. The universe was safe before we knew about the attractor. Now it is dangerous. Knowledge is the hazard. The Great Attractor was always there, pulling us. But now that we have named it, it feels like it has agency. It feels like it is watching us back. The abyss gazes also. The dark matter halo of the Milky Way is interacting with the flow. Our galaxy is surrounded by a sphere of dark matter. As we move through the dark flow, our halo is being warped. It is being swept back like hair in the wind. This warping affects the stability of the galactic disk. The warp of the Milky Way, the fact that our galaxy is shaped like a Pringle chip, not a flat frisbee, might be caused by this interaction. We are physically bent by the wind of the attractor. The shape of our home is defined by the monster. The cosmic background radiation is our reference frame, but if the whole universe is flowing, dark flow, then the CMB is not a stationary background. It is also moving. There is no fixed point. Everything is relative. This induces a kind of cosmic vertigo. There is no ground. There is no north. There is only the relative motion between falling objects. We are falling. And the only thing we can hold on to is the fact that everyone else is falling too. The Great Attractor creates a gravitational wake. As massive objects move through the cosmic fluid, dark matter/dark energy, they leave a wake. This wake can trap smaller galaxies. We might be caught in the wake of a larger galaxy falling ahead of us. We are drafting. The dynamics of the universe are fluid dynamics. We are particles in a stream. The physics of the very large looks like the physics of the very small. Liquids. The universe is a superfluid. And the Great Attractor is the drain. The investigative journalist brings up the flyby anomaly. Spacecraft Earth flybys sometimes pick up unexplained speed. Is this related? Probably not, but it shows we don't understand gravity perfectly even here. If we don't understand gravity at 10,000 kilometers, how can we trust our understanding at 200 million light-years? The Great Attractor might be an illusion of bad math, but the illusion is consistent. It persists, and until we fix the math, the monster is real. The supergalactic plane. Most nearby galaxies lie on a flat plane. The Great Attractor lies on this plane. The Council of Giants lies on this plane. Why is the local universe so flat? It suggests rotation. The whole local supercluster might be rotating. If Laniakea is spinning, the pull might be centripetal force. We are not falling, we are orbiting. But orbiting what? Something in the center with enough mass to swing 100,000 galaxies. That is a terrifying thought. A central pivot point of the universe. The end of the script. We are nearing the limit of our current data. The zone of avoidance is slowly yielding its secrets, but the physics is still broken. The standard model is holding on by a thread. The Hubble tension, the dark flow, the axis of evil. These are the cracks in the dam. The Great Attractor is the water pressure pushing against the dam. Eventually the dam will break. We will need a new physics. A physics that can explain the monsters. The Great Attractor is a reminder of our scale. We are 10 to the power of -21 of the size of the structure we are in. We are negligible, but we are the only part of the structure that knows it is falling. Consciousness is the anomaly. The universe created a way to observe its own collapse. We are the black box recorder of the crash. We are here to witness the flow. The vacuum decay again. If the Great Attractor is a region of different vacuum energy, entering it could trigger a phase transition. The laws of chemistry could change. Atoms could stop bonding. We would dissolve. The zone of death isn't just radiation. It's the unraveling of matter itself. We are sailing towards the edge of the map where the ink is still wet. The Frontier Explorer looks at the future of space travel. Can we send a probe? No. It would take billions of years. We can only send light. We can send signals. We are shouting into the void. We are here. We are falling. Does anyone hear us? Or is the Great Attractor a graveyard of signals? A place where all the hellos of the universe go to die in the silence of the gravity well. The intergalactic medium, IgM, is getting denser. As we move towards the attractor, the space between galaxies is less empty. It is filled with dust, gas, and rogue stars. The void is filling up. The darkness is getting crowded. The purity of deep space is being replaced by the smog of the cluster. We are entering the city. And the city is dirty, hot, and dangerous. The dipole repeller pushes, the attractor pulls. It is a push-pull mechanism, a piston. The universe is a machine. We are the fluid inside the cylinder. What is the machine doing? Is it doing work? Is it generating energy for something else? Cosmic functionalism is a wild theory, but the mechanical nature of the flow makes you wonder, are we just fuel? The Great Attractor defies the cosmological principle. It says, you are here, and here is different. It gives us a location. We are the people who live near the attractor. That is our cosmic address. Third rock from the sun, Milky Way, Laniakea flow, heading towards the Great Attractor. We are defined by our vector. We are defined by our fall. The dark flow speed, 1,000 kilometers per second. That is 0.3% of the speed of light. It is significant. Relativistic effects are starting to creep in. Time is ticking slightly slower for us than for a galaxy in the void. We are aging slower than the rest of the universe. We are preserving our youth by falling into the gravity well, a cosmic fountain of youth, made of death. The investigative journalist closes the file on the Norma cluster. It's innocent, it's too small. The Shapley supercluster is the prime suspect, but the dark flow points beyond Shapley. The true villain is still at large. The investigation remains open. The universe has not confessed. We are still looking for the body. The zone of avoidance is 20% of the sky. That is a huge blind spot. Imagine driving a car with 20% of your windshield painted black. That is how we fly through space. We are flying blind into the busiest intersection in the universe. The Great Attractor is the truck coming from the blind side. We rely on radio waves to be our radar. But radar can't see everything. The existential philosopher notes, the universe is expanding, but we are collapsing. We are fighting the trend. We are the resistance. The Great Attractor is the headquarters of the resistance against the Big Freeze. It is a futile fight, but a glorious one. We will burn together rather than freeze alone. The Great Attractor acts as a mass concentration, mascon. It creates a gravity anomaly that affects everything. Even the light from the Big Bang is bent by it. It warps the baby picture of the universe. We can't see the beginning clearly because the attractor is in the way. It obscures our origins as well as our destination. The Great Attractor versus the Great Repeller. A battle of titans. One pushes, one pulls. We are the rope in the tug of war. The rope is stretching. The galaxies are the fibers. We are feeling the tension. The breaking of physics is the sound of the rope snapping. As we enter the final phase of our analysis, we must confront the multiverse. The only thing big enough to pull a universe is another universe. The dark flow is the handshake between realities, a gravitational handshake. We are being welcomed to the neighborhood by the gravity of a twin cosmos, and that twin is heavy. The concept of the multiverse brings us to the bruise theory. If our universe is a bubble floating in a higher dimensional bulk, collisions with other bubbles are inevitable. The Great Attractor might be the impact site where another universe bumped into ours. This collision would have deposited massive amounts of energy and gravity into that region, creating a permanent scar on the face of space-time. We are essentially living in the crater of a cosmic car crash. The dark flow is the debris sliding down the walls of this crater. This explains the broken physics, because the laws of physics in the impact zone would be a hybrid of our laws and the laws of the other universe. We are looking at a region contaminated by alien physics. The sheer terror of this idea is that the collision might not be over. We might still be in contact, leaking matter or energy into another reality, or having it leak into ours. The Great Attractor is the open wound of the universe. The investigative journalist looks at the KBC void again. If we are in a void, and the attractor is the wall, then our perspective is warped. We are looking out from a fishbowl. The Hubble tension is the distortion of the glass. We cannot trust our measurements of the universe's expansion, because we are measuring from inside a unique, underdense bubble. This means the universe might be smaller, younger, or vastly different than we think. The Great Attractor is the reality check. It is the wall we are about to hit that proves the fishbowl has limits. We have been arrogant, assuming our local emptiness is the universal standard. The attractor is the dense, crowded truth of the cosmos. Let's talk about entropy and the heat death. The universe is winding down, but the Great Attractor is winding up. It is concentrating energy. Does this mean it can survive the heat death? If enough mass gathers, could it form a new Big Bang? A little bang? Some theories suggest that black holes in the far future could spawn new universes. If the Great Attractor becomes a single supermassive black hole, it might be the egg of the next reality. We are not falling into death. We are falling into the womb of the next universe. We are the genetic material for the next cosmos. It is a beautiful, terrifying cycle of consumption and rebirth. The dipole repeller pushes us. The cold spot chills us. The Great Attractor pulls us. We are surrounded by giants. The cosmic web is not a passive structure. It is active. The filaments are flowing. We are in a river. The investigative journalist realizes the crime is simply the dynamic nature of the universe. We wanted a statue, but we got a waterfall. The breaking of physics is just our inability to model the turbulence of the water. We are trying to use static equations to describe a fluid reality. We need hydrodynamic cosmology. The universe flows. The Great Attractor is a basin of attraction. In mathematics, this is the set of initial conditions that lead to a specific attractor. We were always in the basin. From the moment of the Big Bang, our particle's path was destined to end here. Determinism rules the macro scale. We never had a choice. The Milky Way was always going to fall this way. The script was written at t=0. We are just playing out the scene. The existential philosopher finds a grim comfort in this. There is no need to steer. The rails are set. The zone of avoidance is 20% of the sky, but we are mapping it. We have found the Vela supercluster. We have found Shapley. We are filling in the blanks. The Great Attractor is becoming less mysterious, but more massive. Every galaxy we find adds to the weight. The monster is gaining definition. It has a face now. It looks like a web of thousands of galaxies, a tangled knot of light and gravity. It is not a single object. It is a city of stars, a metropolis of gravity. The dark flow extends to 2.5 billion light-years. That is a significant chunk of the observable universe. It means the cosmological principle is violated on huge scales. The universe is not uniform. It is lopsided. It has a heavy side. Why? Did the Big Bang happen asymmetrically? Did the inflation phase expand one side more than the other? The Great Attractor points to a flaw in the beginning. The universe was born with a limp, and we are living on the limping side. The Frontier Explorer looks at the James Webb data. We are seeing galaxies at redshift 10, 11, 12. They are massive. They formed too fast. This supports the primordial black hole theory. If the seeds of the Great Attractor were there from the start, then the structure of the universe is built on skeletons of black holes. The visible universe is just the skin draped over a skeleton of darkness. The Great Attractor is the skull showing through the skin. The end-of-the-world scenarios usually involve the sun dying or an asteroid, but the Great Attractor offers a galactic end, merging with the cluster, being stripped of gas, starving to death. It is a slow, cold end, but it is inevitable. The existential philosopher notes that we will be long dead before this happens. But the story of humanity ends there. Our atoms will end up in the attractor. We will become part of the monster. The Great Attractor is the elephant in the room of cosmology. We know it's there. We know it breaks the models. But we try to ignore it to make the math work. We use linear perturbation theory, which assumes small changes. The attractor is a large change. It is a non-linear beast. It refuses to be linearized. It demands a new math, a math of monsters. The dipole repeller is the great void. It is the emptiness that pushes. It is the silence that screams. We are fleeing the silence. We are running towards the noise of the attractor. The universe is a spectrum from void to cluster. We are sliding from one end to the other. We are experiencing the full range of cosmic density. It is a tour of the extremes of physics. The Great Attractor challenges the Copernican principle. We are special. We are in a special flow. We are in a special void, KBC. We are in a special location near the attractor. Maybe the universe is not the same everywhere. Maybe life can only exist in these special regions. Maybe the standard model is a model for a universe that doesn't exist, a theoretical average that ignores the messy reality of life. The dark flow might be a tidal force from outside the horizon, a super-horizon fluctuation, a wave in space-time longer than the universe itself. We are bobbing on a wave that is bigger than our world. We can only see the slope of the wave, not the crest. We are surfing a tsunami of space-time. The Great Attractor is a gravitational lens. It magnifies the background. It allows us to see deeper. It is a natural telescope. By studying it, we learn about the background universe. It is a tool. A dangerous tool, but a tool nonetheless. We are using the monster to see the ghosts behind it. The investigative journalist concludes, the case is cold. We can't see the culprit. The zone of avoidance is too thick. The dark flow is too fast. We have circumstantial evidence of a massive crime, the breaking of physics, but no body. The Great Attractor remains a suspect. The Shapley supercluster is an accomplice. The dipole repeller is the getaway driver. It is a conspiracy of cosmic structures. The existential philosopher takes over. The fear of the Great Attractor is the fear of the unknown. It is the fear of the dark basement. But science is the flashlight. We are shining the light into the dark. We see shapes. They are big. They are scary. But they are natural. The breaking of physics is just the breaking of our ignorance. We are learning the true rules of the house. The future of the Milky Way. We will merge with Andromeda. Then we will fall into the Virgo cluster. Then we will fall into the Great Attractor. Then we will fall into Shapley. It is a Russian doll of mergers. We will become bigger and bigger, but lonelier and lonelier as the universe expands around us. We are building a fortress of stars against the coming night. The Great Attractor represents the sublime, terrifying and beautiful. A force beyond comprehension. It reminds us of our mortality. It reminds us that we are small. It puts our petty squabbles in perspective. Who cares about borders on Earth when the whole Earth is falling at 600 kilometers per second? The attractor unites us in our doom. The zone of avoidance is shrinking. Radio astronomy. X-ray astronomy, neutrino astronomy, gravitational wave astronomy. We are attacking the blind spot with every tool we have. The monster has nowhere left to hide. We will map it. We will weigh it. We will name it. Science is the process of taming the monsters by naming them. The dark flow continues. The river flows. We are the boat. The great attractor is the waterfall. We can hear the roar. We can't turn back. But we can map the river. We can understand the current. We can marvel at the power of the water. We are the explorers of the flow. The great attractor is the final boss of local cosmology. Once we understand it, we understand our home. We understand Laniakea. We understand the local sheet. We understand the void. It is the keystone of the arch. If we pull it out, the model collapses. If we keep it in, the model holds. It is the most important thing in the sky. The investigative journalist puts down the pen. The story is not over. The universe is still writing it. The dark flow is still flowing. The great attractor is still attracting. We are still falling. The mystery remains. But the terror is replaced by awe. We live in a universe of giants. And that is better than living in a universe of nothing. The existential philosopher looks up. The stars are moving. The galaxies are flowing. The static night is a lie. The dynamic night is the truth. We are travelers. We are pilgrims on a journey to the center of the web. We may never arrive, but we are on the way. The journey is the destination. The great attractor is a reminder that reality is scarier than fiction. No sci-fi writer invented a gravitational anomaly that eats galaxies and breaks physics. The universe did. The universe is the ultimate horror writer, and we are the characters in the book. The dark flow is the plot. The great attractor is the antagonist. The dipole repeller is the inciting incident. The Milky Way is the protagonist. It is a cosmic drama, and the stakes are the laws of physics themselves. The standard model will eventually be replaced. A new theory will emerge, a theory that explains the flow, a theory that unifies the void and the cluster. We are waiting for the next Einstein to explain the monster. Until then, we watch, we measure, we fall. The zone of avoidance will be cleared. The great attractor will be revealed. It will be a cluster of clusters, a supercluster. It will be mundane in its composition, but majestic in its scale. The horror will fade into understanding, but the awe will remain. The great attractor teaches us humility. We are not the center. We are not static. We are not safe. We are small, moving, and vulnerable. This humility is the gift of the monster. It forces us to grow up, to see the universe as it is, not as we wish it to be. The final thought: if the universe is a body, the great attractor is the heart. It pumps the galaxies. It circulates the matter. We are the blood cells. We are flowing towards the heart. It is not death. It is circulation. We are part of the life of the cosmos. As we look towards the constellation of Centaurus, we know what is there. The great attractor. The Laniakea Center, the bottom of the valley. It is pulling us, it is calling us, and we are answering with every second of our existence. We are coming. The dark flow is the pulse of the universe. It beats at 600 kilometers per second. It is the heartbeat of Laniakea. We are living to the rhythm of this pulse. It drives the evolution of the supercluster. It drives the fate of the Milky Way. The great attractor is the anchor. It holds Laniakea together against the expansion. Without it, we would be scattered. It is the glue. It is the gravity that binds. It is the love of the universe, expressed as force. The zone of avoidance is the veil. We are lifting the veil. The bride is the monster. The marriage is the merger. We are wedded to the attractor, till heat death do us part. The dipole repeller is the past. The great attractor is the future. We are the present. We are the transition. We are the movement from empty to full, from cold to hot, from simple to complex. The great attractor is the answer to the question, where are we going? We are going there, to the center, to the density, to the fire. It is a one-word answer to the biggest question of cosmology. The investigative journalist closes the notebook. The mystery is solved, yet unsolved. We know the what, but not the why. The universe keeps its secrets. The great attractor is the keeper of the secrets. The frontier explorer looks at the star chart. The course is set. The autopilot is engaged. We are just passengers. Enjoy the view. The view of the rushing stars. The view of the flowing galaxies. The view of the end. The great attractor is the monument of the local universe. It is the pyramid. We are the builders and the stones. We are building the structure of Laniakea with our mass. We are contributing to the monument. The dark flow is the song of the sirens. It calls the sailors to the rocks. But we are not crashing yet. We are sailing the open ocean. The rocks are far away. We have time. Time to learn. Time to understand. The great attractor is the dark star of our existence. It shines with gravity. It illuminates the path with its pull. It is the black sun, the center of our world. The existential philosopher smiles. We are not lost. We are found. We are found by the gravity of the attractor. We belong to it. We are home. Laniakea is our home. The attractor is our hearth. The zone of avoidance is no longer a void. It is a destination. We look into the dust and see destiny. We see the future. We see the flow. The great attractor is the final truth. The truth that gravity wins. Gravity always wins. It defeats expansion locally. It defeats escape. It defeats separation. It brings us together. The dark flow is the legacy of the Big Bang. It is the echo of the beginning. We are listening to the echo. We are riding the echo. The great attractor is the proof that the universe is alive. It moves, it breathes, it flows. It is not a dead rock. It is a living organism of space-time. The investigative journalist signs off. The report is filed. The anomaly is confirmed. The panic is unnecessary. The awe is mandatory. The frontier explorer keeps watching. The telescope is pointed. The data is streaming. The discovery never ends. The flow never stops. The existential philosopher closes his eyes. He feels the pull, the subtle, invisible pull of the attractor. He feels the motion of the Earth, the motion of the sun, the motion of the galaxy. It is a cosmic dance. The great attractor awaits. It waits for us. It waits for Andromeda. It waits for all of us. We are coming. Slowly but surely. We are coming home. Physics didn't break. It just got bigger. It got stranger. It got darker. And in that darkness, we found our place. We are the fallers. And the great attractor is the floor.